Hey guys, we're doing a little video lesson here on 3.5. You would be watching these video notes after you've completed the 3.4 notes talking about slopes and slope-intercept form equations. So with that in mind, as a quick review, when we're writing an equation of a line, we need to know two things. Specifically, if we're looking at slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. We need to know the slope of the line, and we need to know the y-intercept, or where this line crosses the y-axis. So as an order pair, that would be 0, b, where b is some number. For the following graphs, we're going to write the equation of a line and graph their function. Alright, so the first thing that they give me in number 1 is the easiest example. They tell me the slope is negative 2, so m equals negative 2. And they also tell me my y-intercept is 4, so my b is equal to 4. So when I'm graphing this, what I'm going to start with is my y-intercept. Where do I cross the y-axis at? I cross it at positive 4. And I'm going to have a slope of negative 2, meaning I'm going to go negative 2 over 1, which means down 2, and right 1. So down 1, 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. And I can keep going on this process just to make sure my line is as accurate as possible. Now remember, down 2, right 1 is the same thing, or equivalent to left 1 and up 2. So if I would go the other direction, left 1 and up 2, it's going to keep me on that same line. Last thing I'm going to do is kind of sketch the line connecting those dots as best I can. And I'm also going to write the equation of my line, which would be y equals negative 2x plus 4. Alright? So, got a couple more examples. Remember, always feel free to pause the video and try it on your own, and then always follow along with as I'm going through it too. Looking at number 2, we're looking at an equation of a line that passes through the point 1, 2, and it has a slope of 3 halves. So what do I know about the y equals mx plus b equation? Well, what I do know is I know that my xy are 1 and 2. So I'm going to plug those in for x and for y. I also know my slope is 3 halves. So I'm going to plug that in for m. So when I'm solving this equation, the first thing I'm going to need to find is b. So I have my y, m, and x. All I need to find is b. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this equation, I'm going to solve for b. So I'm going to subtract 3 halves from 2, take away 3 halves from 2, and what I end up with is a 1 half. So b is equal to 1 half. I know my y-intercept, my slope, so I'm going to start with my y-intercept, which we know is at 1 half. And I have a slope of 3 halves, meaning I'm going to go down 3, slope positive 3 halves. I'm going to go up 3, and I'm going to go right 2. So here I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and right 2, 1, 2. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, right 2, 1, 2. It's a little tough because I have to kind of stay between the points, and I'm going to extend my line as far as I can to the edges of the graph. So when I write my final equation for this line, I'm going to have y equals 3 halves x plus 1 half. Number 3 is a little bit more difficult because we're given only points on the line. So what I'm going to have to do is use those points to first find my slope, because slope is equal to the change in the y's over the change in the x's. Then I'm going to use that slope and a point to find the y-intercept. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at my x's and look at my y's. And I'm going to go ahead and subtract the y's. 4 minus 2, negative 3 minus 3. 4 minus 2 is 2. 3 minus 3 is negative 6. So my slope here is going to be negative 1/3. Once I find my slope, I'm going to look for where I cross the y-axis. Now to do that, we can do it graphically or we can do it algebraically like we did in number 2. I could plug in my slope, I could pick my point 3, 2, and I could find b that way algebraically. But we have this graph here, so let's use that to our advantage. We know that negative 3, 4 is on my graph, and we also know that 3, 2 is on my graph. And if the slope is negative 1/3, that tells me I'm going down 1, and I'm going right 3. So as I go down 1 and right 3, down 1, right 3, down 1, right 3, what I'm realizing here is that my line crosses where on the y-axis? It crosses the y-axis at positive 3. So in this specific case, because my y-intercept is an integer, it's very easy to determine that y equals negative 1/3 x plus, where's my y-intercept? Positive 3. Alright, our last two examples here on this page are going to look like this. We're asked to create a line that is parallel to this given line, but it passes through the point negative 2, negative 3. So what I'm going to do here in this one, we'll use my purple pen, is if it's parallel, that means the slopes have to be the same. So my slope of this line, 1/2, is going to be the slope of my new line. Also, I know that x and y have to be negative 2 and negative 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot my point, negative 2, negative 3, and I'm going to follow my slope. I'm going to go up 1, and I'm going to go right 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Nice thing is I cross my y-axis at an integer, which is b equals negative 2. I could have also found that by plugging in x and y and my slope and solving for b. Either way, you get that b value of negative 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. I'm going to follow that pattern as far as I need to, just so I can get a good picture of my line. Then when I sketch my line, dot the graph, and I put my arrows, and then I'm finished. Y is equal to 1/2 x minus 2. Last example is perpendicular. So here we're going to look at a line perpendicular, which means the slopes are opposite reciprocals, and it has to pass through the point negative 1, 3. So I'm going to go to my graph here, and I'm going to go ahead and plot. I'm going to plot negative 1, positive 3, and I'm going to follow my slope. Now the slope they gave me was negative 1/2. Negative 1/2. So opposite reciprocal tells me I take negative 1/2, I make it 2 over 1, and it goes from negative to positive. So my new slope is 2, meaning that I'm going to go up 2 and right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, or down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1. Either way, I get an equation of a line that looks like this. Okay, and where do I cross my y-axis at? I can find it algebraically or graphically, and I get a y-axis. I get a y-intercept of 5. So y is equal to 2x plus 5. We have a couple more examples I want you to see on the next page, and after that we'll be finished. So if we want an equation of a line that has an undefined slope, remember our little saying for undefined was hoi vux. So vux has the u in it, which means undefined slope. So I'm looking for a vertical line where x equals a number. So if it passes through the point 4, negative 3, x is 4, and y is negative 3. So at 4, negative 3, I know I'm going to cross the x-axis, so my vertical line is going to look like this. Where do I cross my x-axis at? At x equals 4, so that's the equation of my vertical line. Here we're asked to find a line perpendicular to x equals 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is I might graph my line x equals 3. That's a vertical line. And I want something perpendicular. Perpendicular to a vertical line, if this is vertical, the perpendicular line is going to be the hoi line. So I'm looking for a horizontal line that passes through the point negative 2y, or negative 2, 1, where negative 2 is x and 1 is the y. So hoi and vux are perpendicular, so y is the number that I'm looking for, y equals 1. So at y equals 1, there's my perpendicular line, and the equation of that line is going to be y equals 1. Same thing here, parallel means that I'm going to look for parallel to this line, x equals -2, -2, vertical line, bucks. And because that's a vertical line, I'm passing through the point 3, 2, and it's parallel, so that means the slope is also undefined. Same slope. So, same slope going through the point 3, 2, right here, which means it's also undefined and a vertical line that passes through the x-axis at 3. So x equals 3. Alright, so that finishes our notes here on 3.4 and 3.5, 3.5 specifically. Make sure you rewatch the notes if you need any help, and also don't be afraid to subscribe for future videos. Thanks guys, have a great day.